All right, guys, I'm going to share these things with you. 3 things that have happened to me over the course of decades, actually. I'm not sharing them for, for humiliation or to be made fun of, but I kind of want to, excuse me, guys, pollen's out. I just kind of want to share these things with you, just so you'll know a little bit more about what's going on with me, what I've been through. Alright guys, welcome back to Rolling with T-Bone. I'm T-Bone. If you're new here, welcome in. I shoot motorcycle related content, any kind of content really. I got to put my gloves on. Anyway, and as I said there in that opening, guys, I'm not putting this out for ridicule or, you know, to be made fun of or anything like that. I realize there's a risk of that, but I just kind of wanted to share this with you guys because, you know, you guys are with me on this journey of rolling with T-Bone and moto vlogging and all the stuff that's going on. You guys are with me in this, so I kind of want to share things with you like I'm about to. I'm going to share with you guys 3 events that happened to me at 3 different times, spanning 20 to 25 years. Well, after my mom died, probably this first event happened maybe a year and a half after my mom passed away. And there was only 3 people other than myself knew that this happened. One of them being my dad, the other one being J.M. Tankersley, and the third one being Doug Inslee. The 3 men who knew about this the night that it happened are all 3 dead now. They're no longer with us. Outside of those 3 people, I'm not aware of anyone else knowing this. I'm not certain I've even shared all of this with Regina. I probably told her a couple of things about it. Alright guys, sorry about that. Had to make a quick pit stop to fix a headphone that was hurting my ear. But anyway, yeah, this first event happened, like I said, those 3 are no longer with us. This happened, y'all, probably when I'm 12, 13 years old. I'm thinking it was that summer in between 12 and 13. My dad used to coon hunt, and he was a avid redbone dog, hunting dog. Redbone was his hunting dog, and we had a dog named Red. Red was kept away from the house. He had his own dog kennel, dog lot, but most of the time we kept him on a chain because he was an aggressive dog. So that's going to play a part in what I'm about to share with you. Red was actually a very aggressive dog. So what happened was Red kept being turned loose, we thought. That his chain snap was being snapped, or he was pulling his collar over his head, is what we found out he was doing. Nobody was unsnapping his chain. He was just, he could actually twist himself and unsnap it. But anyway, getting off the point, this first event happened in the middle, probably of the late evening, probably 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, somewhere along in there. My dad called out to me. They were all sitting in the kitchen, and he said, Red's loose. Now, all you old hunters will remember the old carbine lights, the carbine headlamps that had the battery with the long wire and the headlamp that hooked to your hat. So I grab the lamp, I take Red back up, and I position the lamp to where I can see the chain and see Red. Now Red's usually not aggressive with me. He usually doesn't fight me when I try to chain him up, because he knows I'm the one who feeds him, I'm the one who waters him. When I kneel down in a squat position, now guys, the light's facing toward the doghouse, and the chain is probably 6 foot out this way away from the doghouse. Not thinking anything, I just set the flashlight down to see the chain so I could hook him back up with the chain. Now, I'm not afraid of the dark. I wasn't afraid of the dark then, and I'm not afraid of the dark now. So I noticed that Red had slipped his collar that time. So I unsnapped his collar from the chain, slipped the collar back over his head, and I reached back down to pick up the chain, guys, and I had turned my body to the right just a little bit. The light was now behind me, and I could see a black silhouette, a black outline. I was squatted down. We stood up at the same time. Okay, this thing stood up. When I say we stood up at the same time, I stood up and he kept standing up. We measured, of course, was no words said, no nothing, no grunting, no growling, no anything like that. It wasn't a bear. I know bear. We still got bear around my house. I still see black bear sign all the time. I still see my mama bear. She's around there behind the house, lives out in the woods. This wasn't a bear, and it wasn't a man. Now, I know what you're thinking I'm going to tell you, but I'm not, because I cannot say that it was Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I don't know that. All I know is this thing was about 7 foot tall, maybe a little bit taller. The only thing I could compare its height to was Doug Inslee, and Doug was 6'5", and when I ran back to the house, I just dropped the chain. I didn't grab the light. It scared me enough that I dropped the chain and took off, and I outran the dog home. The dog kept pace with me, but he never could get in front of me. I ran back in the house, told Dad, I said, look, I said, it ain't a bear, but something is up there. He said, is it somebody? I said, if they are, they make, and this was the exact words I said. I said, if it is a human, then it makes Doug look small, because Doug was like 6'5", 6'6". And this thing, guys, had about a 4.5 foot wide shoulder base. When it stood up, the silhouette completely blocked out everything. This shook my dad up, actually. And actually, he went back with me. We just decided that we were going to leave Red unchained. We got the flashlight, looked around. No footprints, no shoe prints, no boot prints, but you could see in the pine needles and in the leaves where something had scuffed its feet, had scuttled its feet going back into the woods. Dad just kind of blew it off and said, I don't know what it was. But my dad, grown man, I never knew my dad really to be afraid of much of anything or anyone. But my dad was scared of the dark. He did not like being outside in the dark at all, period. If there wasn't a light source, he was not going to be out in the dark. I ran around in the dark all the time and played and rode bicycles, because there wasn't enough hours in the day to play in the summertime, is the way I felt about it. But my dad wasn't that way. He did not like the dark whatsoever. He never would talk to me about it. I only brought it up just a couple of more times to him about what he thought it might be, and he said he kept going back to bear, But guys, I know bear. I know bear sign. I know bear. And this was not a bear. A bear stands up. Usually when a bear stands up, its front paws are arched out in front of its body. Kind of like a dog sitting up begging. That's kind of the way a bear. This thing stood up and it had broad shoulders and its arms swung down by its side. I don't know what it was, guys. I know it scared my dad enough to where he never would talk to me about it. And he never asked me to go back up there and do that again, chain the dog back up. If the dog got loose, he said just let him run free till in the morning and we'll put him back up. But we had a lot of crazy stuff like that go on for just a short amount of time. Like we would leave late in the evening. A lot of my dad's family lived over in Dalton and Chatsworth and in that area. So we would leave maybe 4 o'clock in the evening after, you know, I got my driver's license. We would leave maybe 4:30 in the evening, and we would go over to Dalton, and we would get back probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we would go to the races over at North Georgia. And when we come back, we knew something had been in the house. Nothing broken, nothing stolen, just things had been rifled through. Things have been moved. Things weren't where they were supposed to be. And that was kind of a freaky thing. Alright, and now the second thing that happened to me, guys. I hope the audio is coming in on that last little bit. If not, I'll voice over it. Nothing is working out for me today. Seems like everything I'm doing just isn't working. Maybe I'm not supposed to be talking about this, I don't know. But anyway, I told you there was 3 things. That was the first thing. The second thing happened, I was probably 15 years old. And it happened in the winter time because I remember specifically I had taken the wheelbarrow to the wood pile. The wood pile, the dog lot was about 250 yards away from the house. The wood pile that we had was about 200 yards away, and we had been gone all day, so there wasn't no wood or kindling gathered. So I went to go ahead and gather some wood because that was part of my chores. And I remember this night so well because it was deathly quiet. I mean, there wasn't no birds singing, there wasn't no nothing. We had chestnut trees. If you guys who have chestnut trees or can remember chestnut trees, we had 4 huge chestnut trees. I mean, these things was huge. All my family will remember the big chestnut trees that were out behind the house. These things were huge. And of course, chestnuts, when they drop, have a spiky shell on them that will poke you. I mean, they're basically a round briar. And they hurt when you get them in your fingers, and when you get them in your feet, they hurt real bad. So I was on probably my 3rd load of wood in the wheelbarrow. I had a flashlight, I had a light on my head, carbine light. And I was just hauling wood. On my 3rd trip, going back to the house now, the kitchen door is open, the kitchen light is on, the back door of the house is open. It's not cold enough yet to where you were freezing to death when dusky dark came along, but it was starting to be a chill in the air. And about halfway back, I heard a grunt. Honestly, in the beginning, the first time I heard the grunt, I actually thought it was a boar, a wild hog. I actually thought it was a boar, or maybe a sow, because my dad had seen a sow run behind the house back in the summertime. She was moving around quite a bit back there. She had a couple of piglets. And then all of a sudden, this scream from under the chestnut trees, which had already dropped and they had already turned brown. So under these 4 chestnut trees is, for probably 25 yards was just nothing but chestnut shells. There was a scream let out and under those chestnut trees. I mean, I can't equate it to anything, because I've heard mountain lion, I've heard you know, lynx scream, I've heard mountain lion scream, I've heard bears roar. This was the loudest scream. I've never heard anything like it before, and I'd never heard it, and I've still to this day never heard that sound again. My blood ran cold. My dad came out of the house. He heard the scream over the radio in the kitchen. He came out, and I'm already shining up through there with the carbine light. And there was nothing. I didn't see anything. So that was the two events that happened when I was younger. The last event I want to share to you happened to me and my brother John, probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Somewhere along in there, John and Keisha was staying with me and Regina over on Mobile at the house. Same house, but the landscape has changed now. The lot beside us is a lot cleaner than what it used to be. No trees, it got clear cut. And John comes into the house, him and Keisha are outside in the car sitting and talking. And he comes in and gets me. Of course, I'm sitting there watching TV, not thinking anything about anything. And he says there's something behind the house making an awful noise. And I told him, I said, John, it's probably the mama bear, because I've got a burn pit back there, and she will come and dig in the burn pit. He said, no, I don't think this is a bear. He said, this is doing too much, making too much noise. Usually a bear don't make noise like this. I thought, okay, well, I grabbed my gun, my handgun. It's a 45, fully loaded 45, and I thought, well, I'll rattle off a couple of shots in the air to make her run off if it is the mama bear. Started looking for sign. Couldn't see nothing, couldn't hear nothing. Once I got around the side of the house, whatever was making the noise stopped. It just went deadly silent. So we're probably 125 yards away from the house, and all of a sudden I've got my 45 in my right hand. All of a sudden my brother grabs my left arm, and he said, what in the blank is that? This thing was standing in front of us, and I thought, okay. I pulled my gun up, and I point blank shot this thing in the chest twice with a 45 at point blank range. Didn't scream, no blood. Went back the next day, couldn't find nothing, couldn't see nothing. You could see signs where something had been rustling around, but again, me and him raced back to the house, and I think I beat him by about 2 lengths. John don't like staying at the house anymore after dark, but 3 times that's happened, guys. Those are just the 3 that I'm going to share with you, because they are pretty significant. They stick out in my mind. But I shot this thing twice point blank in the chest with a 45, and it never made a nice sound. All 3 times, guys, I can tell you it wasn't a bear. Again, I'm not saying that it was a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I didn't see it. All I saw on the first account and the last account, me and John, we saw silhouette. Big silhouette, huge. And the reason I brought that one up is because when it stood up in front of me and my brother John, the silhouette reminded me so much of that night at the dog kennel. So it wasn't a bear. Pretty sure if I would have shot a human being point blank in the chest with a 45 twice, there would have been a body to find. We went looking through the woods the next day. Like I said, there was no sign of anything. No sign that anything had been there other than just the noise he heard around my burn pit. But like I said, I can't confirm that it was. I can't tell you it wasn't. All I can say is I never saw it. I saw the silhouette. It was too big to be a black bear, and it didn't make bear noises. I've had, you know, my brother John has tried to answer the question as to what happened to us that night in his own mind, I guess. Excuse me, guys. He asked me if I thought it was a wildcat or, you know, a bobcat or something like that, and I said, you know, if it would have been a bobcat, again, if I would have shot it point blank, the flashes from the shots, there was something in front of me. That's plain. There was something in front of me. Yeah, he saw it, I saw it. There was something there. The only thing for sure, guys, that I know is it wasn't a bear. I do know that for a fact. It was not a bear. So I wanted to share this with you. You guys draw your own conclusions about what you think it might have been. Have you had similar encounters? I know a lot of people who live right through this area where I live we've all kind of shared stories over the years at different times about just weird things happening and weird sounds and things being messed with that normally a wild animal wouldn't mess with. As far as I know, there's never been a footprint of anything found or hair, or if there have, I haven't heard about it. But I just wanted to share this, guys, with you. I'm a big fan of you know, ufology, UFOs. You know, I watch a lot of shows about, documentary shows about, of course, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, all that stuff. I've watched all that stuff. I don't know what it was, guys. I would like to sit here and give you a definitive answer as to what I thought it was. I don't know. I can't make that determination because I never saw it. But that's going to end up this episode, guys. I hope you liked that new opening, my new music and my new video. Remember to like, share, comment. If you've had some kind of experience like I've had, let me know. But I'll tell you what, guys, I think that's going to pretty well much end this video up. So until the next time, you guys, remember to like, comment, share. Find us Rolling with T-Bone on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Until the next time, guys, I'm T-Bone. Y'all take care of yourselves and each other.